The hospital hallway was still echoing with alarms when the security guard grabbed the young nurse by the arm and told her to leave immediately. Her hands were still shaking from performing the most intense procedure of her life. A patient had been dying right in front of her. She had only seconds to act. She chose to save him. And that decision cost her everything. Before we continue, take a moment to support stories like this. If you believe kindness, courage, and second chances still matter in this world, please like the video, share it with someone who believes in doing the right thing, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these powerful stories reach more people. Her name was Hannah Brooks, a 24-year-old rookie nurse who had only been working at St. Matthew's Medical Center in Denver, Colorado for 3 weeks. Fresh out of nursing school, Hannah carried a quiet determination in her heart. She had grown up in a small town in Ohio where her father worked as a mechanic and her mother volunteered at a church clinic. Helping people had never been a career choice for Hannah. It had simply always been who she was. But hospitals in the real world were different from textbooks and training labs. Everything moved faster. Mistakes were unforgiving. And authority mattered more than good intentions. That night had started like any other exhausting shift. Monitors beeped. Stretchers rolled in and out of the emergency room. Doctors barked quick instructions while nurses rushed between patients. Hannah tried her best to stay focused, repeating everything she had learned during training. Then suddenly chaos erupted. A man in his early 30s was rushed through the ER doors, bleeding heavily from a deep wound near his chest. His skin was pale, his breathing shallow, and the heart monitor began to dip dangerously. The attending physician, Dr. Leonard Hayes, quickly glanced at the chart and ordered the patient stabilized while waiting for a surgical team. But minutes passed, and the patient's condition deteriorated rapidly. His pulse weakened. His oxygen level dropped. His life was slipping away in front of everyone. Hannah noticed something the others had overlooked. The pressure around the patient's chest suggested internal bleeding that couldn't wait for surgery. She remembered a procedure she had studied, one that could temporarily relieve the pressure and keep the patient alive until surgeons arrived. But there was one problem. She wasn't authorized to perform it. Only senior doctors could make that call. Hannah looked at the monitor again. The numbers were dropping fast. The man's life was seconds away from ending. Her heart pounded in her chest. In that moment, Hannah stopped thinking about hospital policies, job security, or consequences. She thought only about the man lying helpless in front of her. And she acted. With steady hands and sheer determination, she performed the emergency intervention she had practiced only on simulation models. The room froze in shock as the rookie nurse took control of the situation. For a tense few seconds, nothing happened. Then the monitor beeped. The man's pulse strengthened. His oxygen levels climbed back up. Life returned. The room erupted into disbelief. The patient who had been moments from death was now stable enough to survive surgery. But instead of praise, Hannah was met with anger. Dr. Hayes stormed into the room moments later and demanded an explanation. When he realized what Hannah had done without authorization, his face turned cold. Hospital protocol had been violated. A rookie nurse had performed a high-risk procedure without permission. Even though it saved a life. Within an hour, Hannah was escorted to the administrative office and handed termination papers. The hospital board claimed her actions were reckless and dangerous. They argued that rules existed for a reason. Hannah walked out of the hospital carrying a cardboard box with her belongings. Her dream career had ended before it had truly begun. But what she didn't know was that the man she saved was not an ordinary patient. His name was Captain Ryan Carter. And he was a member of an elite military unit known for operating in the most dangerous places on Earth. While Hannah sat alone on a bus stop bench outside the hospital, trying to understand how doing the right thing had ruined her life, something unexpected was happening inside the building. A group of men in dark uniforms had just arrived. They moved with quiet confidence and unmistakable authority. Their presence alone changed the atmosphere of the hospital lobby. These men were members of Delta Force. And they were looking for the nurse who had saved their captain's life. Within minutes, hospital administrators were called into an emergency meeting. The soldiers spoke calmly but firmly as they explained what had happened. Captain Ryan Carter had been wounded during a classified training operation. The injury was severe, and doctors later confirmed that without the immediate intervention performed by Hannah Brooks, he would not have survived long enough to reach surgery. The rookie nurse had not acted recklessly. She had acted courageously. And she had saved a soldier who had spent his life protecting others. The Delta Force commander, a tall man named Marcus Bennett, delivered a message that left the hospital board speechless. If Hannah Brooks was not reinstated immediately, the incident would be reported to federal authorities, military leadership, and the national media. The story of a nurse being fired for saving a soldier's life would spread faster than anyone in that room could control. Silence filled the office. Within 20 minutes, the hospital administration reversed their decision. But there was one small problem. Hannah Brooks was already gone. Outside, the evening sky had turned dark as Hannah sat quietly at the bus stop. Her phone buzzed with a call from a number she didn't recognize. She almost ignored it. But something told her to answer. The voice on the other end spoke calmly and respectfully. It belonged to Commander Marcus Bennett. He told Hannah that the man she saved was awake and asking about the nurse who refused to let him die. He told her the hospital wanted her back. But more importantly, he told her something she would never forget. Sometimes doing the right thing means breaking the wrong rules. The next morning, Hannah returned to the hospital. This time she didn't walk in alone. The Delta Force team stood beside her as she stepped through the entrance doors again. Nurses and staff whispered in amazement as they realized what had happened. The same administrators who had fired her less than 24 hours earlier now welcomed her back with apologies and respect. But Hannah didn't return for recognition. She returned because someone inside that hospital needed help. Weeks later, Captain Ryan Carter walked out of the hospital fully recovered. Before leaving, he met Hannah in the hallway where everything had started. He didn't say much. But the gratitude in his eyes said everything. Hannah Brooks was no longer just a rookie nurse. She had become something far greater. A reminder that courage doesn't always wear a uniform, sometimes it wears hospital scrubs. Before we reach the end of this story, I want to ask something special. Please comment the word courage if you believe doing the right thing is always worth it, even when the world pushes back. And if this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who believes in heroes without capes, and subscribe to the channel so more inspiring stories like this can reach people everywhere. Because sometimes the smallest acts of bravery create the biggest miracles.